Everybody, it is another edition of the NWA Powerrr Recap, brought to you by RealNerdCard.com in conjunction with the Wrestling Underground. I am your host, as always, Chad Porter. Joining me, as always, is the less echoey but still glorious Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Yeah. What's going on?
So we are 3 days, 4 days, 3 days, 3.5 days, five days and 6 kittens removed from Into the Fire last Friday. 5 days. I can count. Uh, didn't even realize that there was NWA Powerrr tapings. So as I'm watching this, I'm like, wait. I didn't see anyone posting spoilers about this. Did they like shoot this day of? After everyone went home? Like, when did they shoot this? Apparently no one reported on the spoilers, but for 1-1 Mania. So I was like, oh. Well, all right then. And the guy writing the spoilers, he was bad at it. It was real bad. But we did get one new debut during the tapings. We see him first up, ready to go. It's Sean Mooney, former WWE announcer from way back in the day. He used to do like a lot of the Coliseum video stuff. I don't think people realize that Coliseum video used to be a thing. Before there was the WWE Network, Marcus, there was Sean Mooney introducing us to the 4-pack of WrestleMania matches from WrestleManias 1, 3, 9, and 9. No, 9 and 8. Just random ass collections of matches on a VHS cassette that lasted an hour. It is how times have changed, Marcus. How times have changed. So, any idea who Sean Mooney was when you saw him when he was introducing the big Aldous?
I've heard the guy, but I've never really seen anything with him. But I've heard of him.
He's an American version of Lord Alfred Hayes. At least that's what I tell myself. So Aldous is out and he's doing his typical spiel. I'm the best modern champion, la dee dee da. And he kind of makes aspersions towards one Marty Skrull. Not exactly the most gentlemanly thing one can do. Mooney points out that it was Aldous who sent Skrull home at Hard Times. And thankfully, they didn't use Paramore's song Hard Times for the event because that song is hard to get through. Marcus, thoughts on the opening promo, which was quite substantial?
Yeah, Doug, I thought it was cool. Like you said, introducing new lifeblood there. Kind of spreading out that cast of guys outside of the in-ring talent. I think they got a good crew. Moon looks like he's going to add some significance there. And obviously, he has a relationship with Aldous, so that's cool. Aldous always delivers in situations like this. Comes out looking the part. Cole's talking about his victory. The fact that he's basically in the perpetual chair, if you will, to kind of run the show of things between him and Skrull. And yeah, I mean, thing that you gotta love about the NWA is just how much you kind of get tested as a talent because it's hard to ignore that audience when you're trying to cut a promo. And you can either try to completely ignore it or you can kind of let it keep you on your toes and make you better. He's good with that. So yeah, that whole thing why they call me the dealer, so yeah, he thrives in situations like that.
So then we go. I was gonna make a joke about that Midnight Toker song from the '70s. I couldn't think of the lyrics though. We then go to off-brand Andrew Everett. He's in a sling. He broke his arm. I don't know who the fuck this dude is. Sal Renati, Sandy Satsapas. I have no idea who he is.
Glad you said that because I'm right with you, and now I don't have to feel bad. Yeah, when he was on the show at Hard Times, I thought his name was Sayonara.
Well, that's how we can see this segment. Sayonara. Which is Japanese for who the fuck are you? He's apparently in a feud with Royce Isaacs. I'm pretty sure both men were just now aware of this.
The only thing, first of all, Royce Isaacs. I like the stuff he did in the ring. That was a good match between the young guy. I forgot his name, but
Andre
cool to
Gunn.
get some. Yeah, cool to see. Cool to get some nice black talent threw up in there. Andre held himself well, but it was cool to see Isaacs kind of display some of that repertoire. That because Bram, like I said, he took Murdoch to task last week, so of course came up short, but he took him to task. But yeah, cool seeing more stuff out of Isaacs, who um we clearly know that the biggest thing with him is like how fast is he moving in on the young Miss Valentine with that whole not being able to for Houston to launch the shuttle, if you will. So.
And that'll be a problem for some guys, apparently. Andre Gunn spells it Guhn. So technically it should be Andre Goon.
We just talked about this name thing.
I'm telling you, man. When you look at your name, it's Guhn. It's pronounced Goon. That's such a better wrestling name. Because it's not being co-opted by Billy Gunn.
Chad's like, it doesn't make you more special because you added another N to gun.
Right? It's like GUWX ampersand N. Well, what's your name? Gun. I don't think so. that ain't how we do it here, son. I'm sorry, you're gonna need to spell that correctly. Spell check it. This was actually a pretty long squash match because Royce Isaacs has a problem with the one-armed Houdini. I don't know why. I'm not even sure they know why.
Yeah. Apparently maybe he was may have not been or took it wrong that he was I guess flirting with Miss Valentine there.
Well, if Miss Valentine's into six heads with a giant toucan Sam nose, then Royce Isaacs can't compete with that.
I had to say you about to literally say sayonara to his girl if you're not careful. The one-armed bandit might strike.
Marv, we're the one-armed bandits. Larry or Harry, shut up. We then got what I believe was a recap from last week with Kingston getting jumped by Pope and the Dawsons, solidifying that weird relationship. I mean, I've had weirder, but not much. Not by much. Then we have the Hispanic Chicas. I'm trying to think of a three. We're trying to work a three into that. The Trace Chicas? Ooh, that's not bad, actually. Marty Bell, Melina, and, of course, Thunder Rosa. They're all looking fierce. They're all looking fine. They're all looking like... I was trying to rhyme. Hey, I did! Ah! Even when I don't mean to, I'm still the best thing going today. Melina's clearly got the boss bitch mentality of the group, which is fine with Marty Bell because she's just happy to be getting paid for showing up to work. Wait, you mean I had to get my face kicked in today and I get paid? Sweet. Thunder Rosa, on the other hand, would like to speak. And she essentially tells Allison Kay, hey, dumb lady, if I fight you a million times, I'm going to win a million times. Like, there ain't no upset here, bitch. And Melina's like, listen, and then Thunder Rosa is pretty much like, nah, I'm the champ now. Very much like that movie, I'm the captain now. So there's some there's some dissension among the three that are them. Thoughts, Marcus?
Yeah, man, it kind of feels like a little bit what I alluded to, on Sunday. It kind of feels like a little, some similarities to, those golden days of Evolution, if you will, back in the, early 2000s when Triple H was running roughshod, and the only person that could have that title was Triple H, the Game, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Oh, don't
Uh,
forget Paul Levesque.
yeah, him too. Yeah, yeah. That bill got around. The same guy so damn much. But yeah, he couldn't stand anybody else having that title, even if there was in his own group, a la Randy Orton. Kind of saw where that went. So kind of feels like we're getting vibes of that. You could tell, and Melina does great with this. I mean, she's always been great with facial expressions, but specifically here. And Thunder Rosa was kind of giving them back to him in a more humble way because obviously she's likes this feminine energy that they collectively share. But Melina like wants all the credit and still somehow almost wants to come off like she wants the credit for almost like she got in the ring and mastermind behind the situation. So it's only a matter of time I see uh, before that kind of starts showing cracks. Specifically, if Melina wants to keep throwing her hat in the ring, literally in the ring. So poor Marty Bell's gonna have to pick a parent.
That's too damn funny. So eventually they announced the Crockett Cup's going to be held in a different location. They recapped Nick Aldis being on the show earlier. Intermittently throughout the
Mhm.
show, there are recaps of Hard Times data. But one of the people who was successful at the Hard Times, Ricky Starks, makes a wrestling faux pas. Did you notice it, Marcus?
No.
He was being interviewed by Dave Marquez, and Dave Marquez goes, Ricky, you won the title Friday night. Thoughts? Now, this is being taped Saturday or Tuesday, and Ricky Starks goes,
Gotcha.
when I won the belt
Gotcha.
last night, I'm like, you weren't on Raw, bitch.
Gotcha.
Faux
I
pas.
did. I did get that, and I kind of just went over it because it's like, I like this is airing Sunday, but it's freaking. Because when did they tape this? Because the thing was Sunday, right?
No, this was taped Saturday.
Yeah, you're right. Because I'm thinking it's like every other wrestling show, but it was Saturday. So yeah, that he's probably used to that the particular format with pay-per-views. But yeah, that was a little bit of a faux pas, but he recovered.
Gotta remember, if you shoot a pay-per-view on Friday and then record a Saturday show to air Tuesday, you don't say yesterday or 2 days ago. You simply say last Friday, last Sunday, last Floorball Day. I don't know. Maybe you're an alien. I don't know. Just saying. Gotta remember to keep it simple. So, Ricky Starks is interrupted by Ziggy Dice. Ziggy Dice is easily my favorite character on NWA Powerrr, and he's not my favorite wrestler. But this dude is legit 100% unique. In an era where everyone's trying to be the tough guy or the flippy guy, Ziggy Dice exists. And he's like, my coat's $2,000. My sunglasses are $1,400. My fanny pack is $15,000. And I'm just like, bitch, your fanny pack ain't even $15. You bedazzled it.
All I could
What are you doing?
all I could all I could think about was Johnny Cage and the disrespect shown for priceless for pricey items, real pricey items.
Those are $15,000 glasses, you son of a bitch. Poor Goro. Ricky Starks, though, decides that he's going to go full money is everything, evil 80s villain tycoon role. And he's like, my gauntlets are 5,000. My other gauntlets 20,000. I'm just like, why? Why are we having a douche off? Ricky, you're supposed to be the
Yeah, man.
good guy.
He was doing good, and then I was like, that. I mean, you do have gold on your stuff, but then that came out, that threw me right back to gold, member. And like, my something's made of gold.
I love gold. You know, that's the only one I haven't seen.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm not really all that upset about it because I saw the sequel. I saw this the second one. I'm like, no, I'm good.
You've seen one.
I think the reason why the first Austin Powers movie was so good, at least to me as a kid, was there was a lot of boob innuendo, and as a horny 12-year-old, I appreciated that. And you had
Except you're a grown
Elizabeth Hurley naked at one point, so like thumbs up.
Yes. It kept you abreast of of manhood, if you will.
It was
Um,
titillating, if you will.
yes.
Fun.
Uh, so many puns, but yeah, it's funny because Ziggy's your favorite character and Stalks is my favorite character. Um, and yeah, I mean, like I said, he's you know bomb on the mic in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
That whole I'm not trying to rewrite his what's the line? I'm not trying to rewrite history, just trying to add some pages to the book. And there's a lot of people out here trying to rewrite history. They ain't got no pen, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the writer and all that. The guy's good. He's got a flow to him. He's got a flair to him, a swag, if you will. And yeah, I mean, we got a match. And normally in situations like that, somebody like a Ziggy Dice would uh, kind of do a pump fake, and then we'll get something next week. But it was refreshing to actually see somebody, talk crap on the spot, and then we get a match right after it. So
Yeah. If I was Ricky Starks, I would have said, "You paid for all your expensive wares. I simply won mine." I think that would have been a better way to put himself over as this fighting champion. Now, two big points of note. All television title matches going forward will be in a time limit of 6 minutes and 5 seconds, keeping the old NWA on Saturday night 6:05 start time alive and going. So I appreciate that. If they really wanted to hammer it home, they would start their YouTube show at 6:05. Just saying.
interesting.
Yeah.
There was also one thing they were saying on commentary added to the TV title or around the TV title, something about if you get 7 victories.
Yes. So I
Did
forget
you
what they
catch
call
that?
it.
That you
It's like the Splendid Seven or the Sweet Seven or the Seven for Heaven. 7 minutes in Heaven. I don't know how they call it. In the
Unite
closet
the Seven
game.
because hilarious. Now
Darren
I'm thinking
Young's in
about
there
Unite
for
the
some
Seven.
reason.
Hilarious. Yeah, now I'm thinking about Unite the Seven because J League ad on TV for the first time this past weekend.
Bet you it
Um,
wasn't the Snyder cut. Whores.
too soon. Uh, still
Two
too
and a half
damn
years
soon.
later. Too soon.
2.5 years later, too soon. The wound has been reopened. But yeah, I mean that's a very interesting concept specifically for the champion because that almost makes that like an impromptu option C for actually being a quality champion.
It's going to be like now. Did they say what happens once they cash in? Do they lose the belt?
No, they didn't. They didn't go that far.
Okay, because that'll
So
be
it's
interesting
still
to me.
on. Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see what they do with that. So, if Starks also that they made a point of emphasis to state that if the match goes to a time limit draw, it counts towards a successful defense towards the champion. So Ricky Starks doesn't need to pin another human being in his next 7 matches. He just needs to not lose, and he'll get a title shot at Nick Aldis. I don't have an issue with that. I think that's hey, we have a time limit, and if you don't beat the champion, you don't get to claim a draw. You just flat out lose. And I was like, I like that. Unfortunately for Ziggy Dice, for someone who, in my opinion, has all the talent in the world, dude can't find a win with a magnifying glass. He's having some hard times. He's having
Yeah.
some
Maybe
significant hard times.
maybe you should trade that fanny pack in or uh, any part else of his extremely over expensive gear and take him some of them karate classes, not down at the local Y.
No.
From the goober and his friend.
You don't need the shooter. You don't need the Mongrovian karate chop expert. You don't need Uncle Rico. Just find some cat who's like, hey, I can teach you to chop through a board, and boom, shaklacky. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go get you go take a lunch break and search for you some waffles, and you might find yourself getting a tire iron in the process.
Hey, if you put a tire iron in your wristband, is that illegal? I don't think so because why would tape not be illegal on your wrist, but a tire iron be completely out of line? I'm just saying, if one's attached to your wrist, then you're fine. So Zicky Dice gets the L. Kind of a sad day for Chad. He didn't need to win, but he didn't need to lose either. Speaking of not being able to lose, the champs of the world of tag team wrestling are on the scene. It's James Storm with his, I'm not being facetious, I believe 15th title reign in a tag team division, alongside Senor Talk to Ya. Talk to me, let him talk. Let me talk, let him talk. Eli Drake. Damn good interview, damn good promo. At least with Drake.
Yeah, they had their celebration and their overall entertaining or interrupted or infringed upon, I should say, um, by the suck duo of about to say Sandow, but Stevens and not Josephus. That's what we're gonna start calling.
Listen, if that dude, if the karate guy ends up not being Josephus, I'm gonna be fucking shocked.
Just that we've yet to see them in the same place on the same show.
It's almost impossible for me to think that Josephus is not under that mask, considering every guy that Billy Corgan had used prior to the relaunch of the promotion itself is in the promotion, with the exception of Josephus. Well, I shouldn't say is in, because we've seen Josephus. It hasn't been utilized with Josephus. Like he's been on 2 matches under his brand name. Like that's it. So I got to imagine that the Mongrovian Nightmare is in fact Josephus. Otherwise, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. My world will not make sense, Marcus. It's like when I read Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and they're like, the higher power, could be Bill Goldberg, and I'm like, what? And then it was Vince McMahon. I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but I should have. It's pretty obvious. So they're interrupted by Damian Sandow, and I'm sorry, I did exactly what you tried not to do. With the Mongrovian Nightmare. Is that his name? Like, am I the question mark? That's his name, the question mark. And Shooter Stevens, who's a third-degree NWA national champion. So, all right, that's cool. They set up a match for next week. Eli's pretty much like, bounce, bitch. And then Trevor Murdoch walks out, and he's like, hey, I'm going to beat you up. And Shooter's like, so there's some trouble in Denmark, yo.
Yeah, but even before that, Mr. Can't Catch a Hint, Joe Galley.
Poor Joe Galley. All he had to do was exactly what Eli Drake said to do. And he couldn't even do that. It's all right. As we used to say about my aunt's dog, pretty house, shame no one's home. So we then move on to, I guess did we only have one match?
Let's see. Did we only have?
We had 2 matches tonight. That's it.
Oh. Yeah, 2 matches. Yeah, because the rest of it was recaps and promos.
Back in 2007 or whatever, like people would be like, Impact, or at the time TNA, only had 32 minutes of wrestling on their show this week. I'm never going to be that guy. I'm genuinely surprised that there was only 2 matches on this week's show, neither of which probably eclipsed the 10-minute mark, because it was actually a very enjoyable show, so I'm not going to sit here and be a dick about it.
Yeah. I think it says more. Yeah, agreed. I think it says more about what they have going on creatively in terms of not only how they're writing some of this stuff, but the talent for them to only have 2 matches, and for this show to be as good as it was coming off of a pay-per-view. Normally these shows can be very low because they're almost the buffer after the big the big fireworks and everything out the show. But this was quality stuff, and like I said, got to give them credit for being able to keep you entertained for that hour. Because I dare say this show with less wrestling was better than that chaotic show that they had that felt like all over the place that we covered. That was like the last show before Into the Fire
Mm-hmm.
that had that awkward brawl at the end that really didn't make any sense. So
All of the awkward brawl. So that takes us to the main segment of the night. It is Marty Skrull chillaxing with Nick Aldis, and Nick's pretty much like, "Why you gotta be selfish, yo? Why you gotta come in here and be like, I'm gonna take your stuff? Don't take my stuff. I like my stuff." Marty's like, I like you, Nick. This doesn't need to be a thing, but I'm taking your belt." And Nick's like, but Mickey won't like me if I don't have the belt. And Marty's like, you gotta do what I gotta do. The best part was Nick starts randomly calling him Money Marty.
I love it.
What? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Stop it.
I was, I was, I was probably like the best part of this thing because everything they basically said was just real life undertones.
Yeah. Yeah.
They really friends. I'm pretty sure he's pretty sure it's gone both ways, but specifically because Marty has had more of an upward struggle climb throughout the industry in his 15 years that he's sent them encouraging texts from time to time. And I mean, Marty's like, man, I was freaking in London wrestling for 30 pounds, and you was the freaking TNA world champion. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so that whole deal. I mean, it was just great to hear that because them kind of the stories you don't really hear. I mean, you always hear about traveling the road and making the towns and this, that, and the third, and always, obviously the successes with the championships, but it's those moments when it's not going good and who you're talking to, what's going through the mindset. So that was real cool to see, and both these guys look like $1 million. Uh, Clearly, one of them damn near maybe feels like he's getting $1 million, which is why the Money Marty comment was so spot on. He was like, "Why would you even want to deal with me? You got your foot on an entire company's neck right now." So that was cool.
I really do love what they're doing with the NWA and Ring of Honor. One of the things I think the NWA is kind of missing is kind of more recognizable younger stars. Guys that have a bit of a zest and zeal.
Yeah,
They are
yeah,
developing them. This is by no means taking shots at Starks or Ziggy Dice or anyone else, but it takes 6 to 8 to 12 months to develop recognizable lesser I shouldn't say lesser known, but recognizable younger stars. The Ring of Honor has a lot of guys who are not main eventers that they are trying to use as main eventers. So the symbiosis of the two rosters really does coexist really nicely. The NWA has the big names. They have Mr. Anderson for now. They have Eli Drake, Nick Aldis, James Storm, Marty Skrull. Ring of Honor has Marty Skrull. But they also have guys that maybe aren't as super popular as Skrull or even in the same stratosphere, let alone same arena, same sport, like PCO, Roosh, Matt Taven. So the two rosters do have some holes with one another, and put them together in some sort of storyline, in a promotional stuff. It works because there are obvious holes on both that you can utilize in any type of matchmaking. So that's a good thing. Skrull, I think, is better suited to being in the NWA just because I don't feel like they have the same issues that Ring of Honor does, even though Corgan is Corgan. But I'm excited to see what Ring of Honor can do with him in a creative role. He's not the head of creative, but by all accounts, he's going to have some influence. And if he doesn't win the world title in the next 2 to 3 months, like I'm going to be very perplexed what Ring of Honor is even doing. They need to drop that world title though, because that's an ugly looking belt. It has zero legitimacy. It just looks like it looks like a hubcap on a strap. Not like the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. That's a
yeah. I mean,
pretty belt.
it really is. It got a simplistic, classic look to it. Yeah, they I don't know why they. I mean, I guess they thought that was a glossier aesthetic to those titles. We kind of, I guess, pushed them more towards the modern times, but to me, it pushed them back. I like to look at the old titles, like how the TV title kind of looked like a medallion,
Mm-hmm.
and how the and just I mean they had the perfect looking title for the Ring of Honor World. It was regal, but at the same time, like it felt like throwback at the same time. It really embodied what it felt like what was special about the company. So I don't know why they got rid of that, but again, it's people going different directions. It's just really the new titles are kind of indicative of the creative direction they went in, which is not a good one.
No. Which belt are you referring to? Because I think they've had 4 world title designs.
I'm referring to the one that had the one primarily held by Cole and the last one
Okay,
that
the
was held
last one.
by Cole and yeah, the racist hillbilly. But
He's not a racist. He's a bigot. I don't know if there's a difference, but
yeah, I'm about to say
he
perfect.
hates the gay community, not necessarily the black community. Although I wouldn't be surprised.
He was like, and 2 streets down. No, no, you stay off wind.
I didn't know Delaware's so nice. AJ Styles, what are you doing up here? I'm fitting in with my own.
Hilarious. Then you take another look at his hornswoggle. Oh,
Styles. Oh my
oh
god.
man.
So they're
But
clearly setting up Crockett Cup 2 Electric Boogaloo between Nick Aldis and Marty Scurll.
they say this for the end. I think it really was the best part. Like I said, just because of that realism, those 2 guys are really good talkers. And yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. That was a smart idea. A year to their last bout at the Crockett Cup, and but him calling him Money Marty and be like, you know what? Since I'm calling the shots, since you so damn, guaranteed that you're gonna beat me, and even all to say you can beat me, but just because you can do something, I mean, you're gonna do it, and you've not done it up until this point. So, you know, if you so, you know, damn guaranteed that you're gonna beat me, if you win, you get what you want. But if I win, you basically give the fans a free show because you're gonna be paying them their money back. And Skull's just looking at him like, you son of. Oh, boy.
See, this is where I like it, but I don't, because the Crockett Cup's going to be held in a bigger venue. They're expecting 15, 35, maybe even 5,000 people. I think that's the idea here. So they're not going to shoot at the studios, but they are still going to be in Atlanta. So I'm supposed to believe that we'll say at $40 a pop, that Marty Scurll is going to shell out, $100,000 of his own money if he loses. No. No, and Billy Corgan can't afford to waste that kind of money, so they're pretty much holding this match for Marty to win. I hate these kinds of stipulations. They're bad. Because they basically ruin the outcome
Well,
of the match.
well, can he win without winning the title?
Well, yeah, but that's almost as bad because then you have all this, lose via disqualification, and that's just gonna piss fans off. Like this is that's a no-win situation right there. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe they'll redo something with it. I don't know, but my hope, the Crockett Cup is in April, I think. My hope is that by the time the cup rolls around, they change it from money to titles because Marty has now gotten the Ring of Honor World Championship, and now we can finally get the title for title that we should have gotten back at All In.
Hmm.
So that would be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. It could happen because really, both of these scenarios um, are predicated on because he's what do you call himself, the dealer, are really centered around the dealer's ego. What does he want more than to basically bankrupt him financially, or does he want to rub it in his face more that you know I didn't just stand in the way of you getting one world title, but two.
Yeah, and he does flat out say it's not about so much bankrupting him; it's about making sure that Marty has something to lose too. So if Marty does end
Yeah,
up winning the title in Ring of Honor before the Crockett Cup, they could easily pivot to a title versus title, which I think would be far more effective. And considering there is a working relationship now between Ring of Honor and the NWA, that seems viable. Two quick notes before we talk about something near and dear to my heart. Matt Cross did work the next set of tapings, so Son of Havoc seems to be sticking around the NWA for a little bit of a while. And Jax Dane, who we talked about briefly on Sunday, will be starting up with the company officially. So if you guys were really happy about that tag team with him and Crimson, hey, now they're both in the NWA.
yeah,
So maybe you can get the League of Warrior War guys, War League
that,
heroes.
or they just buffed up the security. Um,
You mean lax the security? I guess buffed up. Yeah, they brought in Jax Dane as a security guard because Crimson's a
yeah,
producer, so why not?
exactly. More apropos, one of the guys that do the pull aparts when they need to happen.
Essentially.
Because the Christmas was out for that, out there for that. Yeah, but that's cool. I mean, Son of Havoc, Matt Cross, it would be cool to see him do more stuff. Because he's another guy that can kind of get that crowd a different feel with his style. It'd be cool if he maybe go into like a series of matches. I think that could benefit somebody like Caleb Conner to be his opponent,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So I mean, that's cool. I mean, it's only getting better. And like you said, with that thing with Aldis and Skrull, that's gonna be real cool going forward. And like you said, there is time for him to win that Ring of Honor title. Because did he give him till next show to come up with a decision, or what? He just told him to think about it.
I don't think there's anything definitively stated. I guess we have to
Yeah.
tune in next week to find out. That's how they get you. Same NWA time, same NWA channel. Honestly, Billy Corgan should bury the goddamn hatchet with Impact and just be like, "Hey, can you put us on Saturdays at 6:05 on Access TV?" Like that would be dope. I would be 100% for that.
Might be too much pride there.
Oh
Seems like
yeah.
he's even when he's on TV, he comes off like a bit of a prideful guy with a twinge of arrogance there.
Oh yeah. A lot of arrogance. So, real quickly, I wanted to talk about something else, not NWA related, but still pretty fucking awesome. The good folks at Impact have started to announce their lineup, or at least their past competitors for their No Place Like Home Impact Wrestling Presents TNA event. Obviously, I think it was the 24th. We found out that D'Lo Brown and Mr. Anderson were going to be reprising their Aces and Eights roles. So that'll be interesting. I guess they couldn't get Nux.
Nux.
We also found out that one Chris Sabin will be making his return to the promotion for that event as well. A lot of these guys, the one thing that I've been noticing, there's already a tie to them being in the company or with the company currently. Chris Sabin worked a few events as a producer while he was out with his knee injury. I've heard through chatter that Impact does want to use Chris Sabin again as a wrestler. And considering Alex Shelley has kind of gone into a little bit of a limbo sort of position because he's working with Ring of Honor still, but he's also now with NXT. Sabin's kind of up in the air with what he's going to end up doing with his in-ring career, like where to go. And I think, a very big possibility is going to be him returning to Impact in some form, which I think would be fantastic. I've always been a big Chris Sabin fan.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Like it's really weird when you see tag teams like that have long since been established and really made a name for themselves. Kind of go to separate ways, and obviously, both of those guys are great individually. Talking about the Motor City Machine Guns, but it kind of reminds me of what happened with the mighty don't kneel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd be actually great if those, four men could come back together and do a match, maybe in a place like an Impact. But also, I think when it comes to the mighty, one's still in NXT or something, and the other one's in Japan or something. So, um, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to there's no place like home. It's just good to see a lot of these guys coming back because place the company was in a few years ago. I don't even think a lot of these guys will even want to be affiliated with the product, nowhere near it, because of the stain it had on it. So it's just cool to see those guys even want to come back. It'll be nice if we got some surprises, maybe like a Monty Brown, um, or or from the depths of where in the blue hell did he come from? Elix Skipper, something like that. That'll
Well,
be
I
great.
think Elix might be pushing. He's well into his late 50s. But if
Yeah,
he's anything like Shamrock, that may not be a deal breaker.
that'll he ages like Shelton Benjamin. That'll be great.
I think Monty Browns are a very realistic possibility. This event's literally designed for him, and Scott D'Amore was always a big Monty Brown supporter. So unless Monty doesn't want to do it, even though he's already kind of returned to the ring last year for I think two matches, like it's very possible. It's extremely possible. It's going to be a big weekend. It's going to be at the WrestleCon weekend. So like you have the New Japan crew coming in. You're going to have TNA making the return. You're going to have all the WrestleCon events and festivities. So there's a big kind of onus that if you're an indie talent that you want to get on one of these shows because there's a lot of appeal there. So, if Monty was ever looking for a comeback match, here it is. This is the opportunity.
Yeah.
Also announces the Big Bad Booty Daddy, which I am 100% not surprised about. I'm
Hey
surprised when
man,
Scott Steiner doesn't show up to a major event.
I just want him to come out. Again, right to what we was talking about, the last remnants of the main event mafia.
Him and Kevin Nash versus D'Lo Brown and Mr. Anderson. Do it. Main event Mafia versus Ace and Eights. Book it.
And it's funny now thinking about, talking about there's no place like home. And mostly I wanted just, well, mostly for you, because I know you're his biggest fan, or one of his biggest fans. It'd be so cool if we got Sting back,
Oh God, that'd be
just for
great.
one little thing. Even if he can't wrestle, because obviously, you
Fucking
don't want
sell.
to risk that. I'll take Joker Sting. So since we get freaking aces and eights, 1-3, 1-3. I mean, we passed the date at this point, but still. Oh man.
I'll say this about Joker Sting. He had some really great moments. I loved the whole "I'm the Stinger, I'm not done yet." Then, of course, when what I like to call Sting's red suit era, where he was named the network executive for Impact, and he goes around basically just fucking with everyone the entire show, and then finally goes, "Eric,
Oh,
I have a confession. I'm not the representative for the network. I'm so sorry." And then he releases a crow.
uh,
That was a great fucking segment.
I want somebody to interview him and ask him about that because, like, we've heard the stuff to death about the WWE and the stuff with Seth. Like, just okay, yeah, move that out the way. But that stuff that had to be some of the most funny stuff he got to do
Hmm.
because it literally, like, I can't imagine, like, because Sting probably doesn't get enough credit for being probably as funny as he probably is. I would imagine a lot of that stuff was of his own doing. So, this was to hear him talk about that. That would be very interesting because some of that stuff it was priceless.
It really was. And I don't know what his deal with the WWE will prohibit him from doing. I know he does appearances outside of the WWE, and I know he does signings outside of the WWE. But I don't know if those have to be pre-approved because he is on a Legend deal or what. So if they can get Sting, even for just like a commissionership, like that would be awesome. And here's the
Yeah, I
thing.
mean,
With Scott Steiner, I don't need him to wrestle. Put him on commentary.
oh god. It's-
5 minutes into the show, the event gets pulled. Impact closes, and there's a giant "We're sorry for Scott Steiner" sign on the website. Scott Steiner's
Exactly.
so offensive in 5 minutes he forces Impact Wrestling to finally shut their doors.
Yeah, he embarrasses both RVD and Ace Austin because he's the big bad booty dad. He almost takes RVD's girl and her girl
There's no
because he's the
almost when it
original.
comes to Scott Steiner and women.
Yeah, because he's the original freak.
Yes, he is.
And then RVD just moping out of the parking lot. The roster, half the roster stealing my move. Now this old asshole comes and steals my girl.
Scott Steiner is he's just. I feel like his lore has grown even more so in the last 20 years since he won his first world title and only world title. Like Scott Steiner, no joke. This is not meant to be a joke at all. But by me saying this, for a good 9 years in the 90s, was the best pro wrestler. Period. Full stop. But back issues really started to hamper him, and by the time he came back real hard in 2000, he wasn't. He was still very good, but still not nearly as good as he once was. But since that,
Yeah.
since 2000 and on, his legacy has become almost biblical, or maybe the better term is guys like Johnny Appleseed and all them. Like what do we call those? Like tall tales, American lore. What?
Prolific.
No, no. It's almost
Prolific.
it's a specific term. I can't fucking think of it. God damn it. They're legends. They're tall tales almost. And I can't think of the goddamn word to save my life at the moment. But he's almost become bigger in kind of a
The fable myth type of deal.
yes. He's become a fable. That's not the word I was looking for, but that's a great version of like, that's a great way to phrase it. He's become a fable. He's a legend that has transcended his actual legacy. So I think that's one of those things that is really funny about Scott Steiner. He's not even on his own level anymore. He's exceeded it with his tall tales.
Yeah. Yeah, if nothing else, he's made himself must see, or at least must hear. Kind of reminds like he is on a mic where Sheik is to Twitter.
Yes. That is 100%. 100%. Yes. Well, yes. I'm looking for the name. I'm looking for the fucking word. I'm gonna find it eventually. Maybe it's just not
Yeah,
there.
but it'd be cool to see some other people come back for that. Like, I mean, let's get some women. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Jazz, anything like that. It'd be nice if we maybe get like Taryn or Brooke. I mean, I know obviously they're full time, like I imagine wives and mothers now, but just for like a one off, because you never kind of lose that itch. Some people can walk away from it, but I would imagine, it's two people that kind of grew into, because they didn't start out as your prototypical, like, oh yeah, they're gonna be good in the ring. No, they kind of grew, they had to grow into that. So specifically Taryn. So
I think when it comes to the talent, I would like to know where they're kind of looking at time wise. Anderson and D'Lo kind of make it seem like it's going to be even more modern guys. So like Taryn and Brooke would make sense. But if you're trying to capture that old essence of the 2002 to 2005 days, why not Tracy Brooks?
yeah, if I guess, well, I guess she wouldn't. I wouldn't imagine she needs to sign off from Cass, but who knows how those things work.
Yeah, I would be surprised if there was some type of conversation that needed to be had between the two of them. Like that would certainly be interesting. And then finally we have P.D. Williams, who's actually with the company. He's also been announced. Marcus, he's having a hell of a day. Well, hell of a few years anyway. Everyone's stealing his moves. It's just been a thing, man. It's just been a thing.
Yeah, they've taken his move, his must-see finisher, and turned it into always see setup move. Uh, always see false finish. So yeah, he's more than anybody. He could have that RVD gimmick right now. Minus the inappropriate female relationships. Um, or maybe inappropriate for some TV audiences anyway. Shut looking at you, Twitch. But looking at you, Twitch. But yeah, I mean it's it's always cool to see PD do his thing, and the fact that him and Scott Steiner be on the same show, I just uh like I always go back to him and PD Pump. Obviously, we won't be getting any Rock or Khan, but
Well, I mean, we might. Kurt Angle's not in the promotion anymore.
wait a minute, is that far away from wherever Kurt Angle is?
Well, I would imagine.
Yeah, because they're in Canada. Um, Jesus Christ, Kurt. But yeah, that'll just be really cool. You gotta love Peter Pump. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting just seeing that what all they do for that event. Uh, there's no place like home because I'm seeing it. They obviously got some big plans for it. It's all over Twitter. So um, yeah, I just hope it was a good show.
I think two of Kurt's brothers are in prison for violent crimes. I think one of them
Well,
murdered somebody.
that's crazy. His family. I'm surprised. Has Kurt come out with a book yet?
No.
That is wild.
Right?
Of all the wrestlers, like Jericho's what on his fifth, it feels like. Of all the wrestlers that could or should be doing a book, it's Angle. But maybe that's down the line. I'm surprised nobody's asked him about that. But definitely money to be made there. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned his brothers because for the longest time I thought Frank Trigg was his brother.
Folklore is, I think, the word I was looking for. I think. Yeah, Frank Trigg is actually a heck of an MMA commentator. Frank Trigg also doesn't get enough love for being one of the pioneers of MMA and having one of the best feuds in early MMA history with Matt Hughes. And I think they really could have had something with him in 2008 when they brought him into TNA to do the commentary and Kurt Angle stuff. But, Vince Russo and Dutch Mantel really flubbed the bill on that one. Whatever. I am hoping eventually someone decides to bring in Chael Sonnen to be a color commentator. Because that dude is too good to not be doing commentary work in Impact. Or Ring of Honor or MLW or wherever. Here's hoping. So, yeah. Petey Williams, D'Lo Brown, Mr. Anderson, Scott Steiner, and Chris Sabin all announced for the event. Here's hoping we get more. The ironic thing is, I don't know if it's in February or if they're doing it for their WrestleMania set of shows, but Ring of Honor is doing their own version of this, where they're bringing back past wrestlers as well. Dan Moff has already been announced. I think Jimmy, not Jimmy Havoc. No, yeah, Jimmy Havoc, I think. And somebody else, and I think there's a female competitor that's already been announced. Bringing back past stars. Let me see who we got here. Matt Sydal, Doug Williams, and Necro Butcher have all been announced. Let's see when this is happening. Oh, it's at the 18th anniversary show, so that's going to be in February. Marcus, how do you feel about Ring of Honor doing relatively the same thing for their anniversary show in February next month?
Oh, that's cool. But I feel like at this stage in the game, I feel like it's better leaning towards Impact because um, they have regained more credibility to even bring wrestlers back to the product. Like I feel like a lot of relationships with Ring of Honor have been soured. Uh, Because I was just about to say, you talking about bring back past all. I'd be like, man, it's nice if they could get Kelly Klein back for
Well,
me.
considering Kelly Klein's reputation has
Yeah.
taken a bit of a ding as in recent weeks with certain infidelity accusations against her. I don't know if she's going to
Oh,
have the strongest of fan bases anymore.
wow, that's news to me. That must have went went out under the radar coming off of the Tesla stuff. But oh, that sucks.
Well,
But
to be clear,
yeah.
it was her husband who made the accusations. Ex-husband, soon to be ex-husband, BJ Whitmer.
Wait a minute, she's mad to B.J. Whitmore.
She not for much longer.
Oh, I can't. Jesus Christ, I can't even give her any credibility to B.J. freaking Whitmore.
Right?
Okay. So completely off of her. I would imagine it might be kind of hard to, like I said, kind of lure some people back, specifically with those some of those allegations. But they are trying to turn over a new leaf. So um, I just like to see it from Impact more because I don't really feel like even so most of the talent I would want to see back, they're not coming. Either because they're completely locked down or like I said, they've kind of soured on that whole deal. So, I think depending on how far back you want to go, I mean obviously Moose is tied up. Got you said Alexander's,
Well, ACH
you're
doesn't have
not
much planning, so you could probably get him.
man, I hope he is somewhere gathering his mana or chi or whatever. Whatever, man. Be well, ACH. But yeah, just names like that, that could have, really excelled, there. That like I said, it kind of soured on a promotion. Those are the kind of names I would want to see back with. But who did you say? What was the couple that you named?
So here's the 5 announced so far, with more to be added. Allison Danger, who was one of the first female stars for Ring of Honor. Douglas Williams, obviously, he's a member of British Invasion with Nick Aldis. Matt
Yeah.
Seidel, a.k.a. Evan
Okay.
Bourne. Necro Butcher, who may not be a big name for a lot of guys because he was technically more a CZW wrestler who feuded with Ring of Honor back in the day. And the big name, I guess, for the past cast of folks would be Homicide.
Yeah. See, I'm not completely over the moon at all with any of those names. I mean, obviously we're gonna be seeing a homicide in NWA, and it'd be cool to see the lady back, because obviously the women thing I kind of caught on to that when it came to Ring of Honor late because I guess that got phased out earlier. It was never a real thing
Mm-hmm.
early on, so that'll be cool to see. But yeah, like I said, it's not really a big attracting name for that. I'd almost rather get back into the product to see what they got going on now with Squirrel in charge. Apparently, I mean they've gotten the title off PCO, have they?
No, he's still the champ.
Oh crap!
I don't
Just
think he's
wait
going
on
to be
you.
champion for much longer, though.
Yeah, and then I'll just wait on you to give me the go ahead to check something out. Because at this point, uh,
I will say,
yeah,
go on. I'm sorry.
no, that was it.
I will say that I am intrigued, especially with the names that they could still announce. We're not going to get Styles. We're not going to get Daniels or Kazarian. We're not going to get Alex Shelley. I mean, we might get Alex Shelley. I don't know. We're not going to get Samoa Joe or Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. We're not going to get Nigel. We're not going to get CM Punk. I mean, we might get CM Punk. We don't know. But I think for this event, it'll be interesting to see the matchups because, like, with Dan Maff being a part of Ring of Honor again and Homicide coming in for the show, they're not on good terms. So if you want to book like a first blood match or like a Falls Count Anywhere match, like that could be truly violent, and that might be awesome. They are kind of hinting, just looking at the way they're setting up this poster. I don't know who this young woman is next to PCO, but they're setting up the idea of Homicide versus PCO. Now this is just based off of the poster. There's no confirmed matches yet that I'm aware of. But Homicide's on one side, PCO's on the other. John Grisham and Necro Butcher, Douglas Williams and Marty Scurll, which would be fantastic, and then Bandito and Matt Sydal. So if those are the matches they end up going with, that could be really interesting. But I would still like to see a lot more names announced for your anniversary show. And I would hope that the world title match, if PCO is champion, is against someone of, not to disparage Homicide, but a bit of a bigger reputation than Homicide. I don't know which former champions exist free from the market, but I gotta hope Homicide's not the biggest name you can get. I'm about to look through all the championship names, so I'm about to be super fucking depressed probably. So PCO, Rush, Matt Taven, Jay Lethal, Dalton Castle, they're all still with the promotion. Cody, Christopher Daniels, they're with AEW. They're not going to be brought in. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, they're with NXT. They're not going to be brought in. Jay Briscoe, he's still with the promotion. Michael Elgin's with the Impact, so he's not going to be brought in. Kevin Steen's with WWE, so he's not going to be brought in. Davey Richards is a free agent, so he could be brought in. Eddie Edwards with Impact. Roderick Strong's with NXT. Tyler Black / Seth Rollins is with WWE. Austin Aries is with MLW, but technically a free agent. Nigel McGuinness is retired. Takeshi Morishima is, I think, retired due to health issues. I think he's got like severe cases of diabetes and has to lose a lot of weight in order to get back in the ring, and I don't think he has yet. Maybe he has. I don't know. I'm going to double check. Homicide's free and coming in. Bryan Danielson's not free. James Gibson, a.k.a. Jamie Noble, I think is a free agent. Or maybe he's still at WWE. Then we have CM Punk, who's obviously free, but probably not coming in. Austin Aries, Samoa Joe, Xavier, and Loki, who could be potentially brought in. That would be interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing Loki be brought in. I don't know if he would be able to work because of his MLW deal, but I would say Low-Key and Davey Richards would be huge opportunities for PCO if he's still champion by March 14th or whatever it is. Depending on the rest of the names brought in, Marcus, I do believe that there is a potential opportunity for this show to be really good. And I'm not a big Ring of Honor guy, so that should tell you kind of where I'm sitting here. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Any other news, notes, or nuggets of wisdom you want to share on tonight's show?
No, that's pretty much it. I don't think anything else can. Flops has heat, huh?
Flops Riddle here has heat. Go fucking figure. And it's not even just with Brock Lesnar either. That's the funny thing. Apparently, most of the NXT roster can't stand the guy. There was a tweet from like last fall in 2019 where Matt Riddle's like, sweet deal that, you guys can't even take me to the show when your cars are so loaded up with talent. And Tommaso Ciampa basically said, the boys police the boys. As in, they're freezing Riddle out on purpose. So I think it's pretty funny that this dude who has all these fans because he's such a disrespectful schmuck and people think that's so cool is in fact the least popular guy in the promotion because he's such a disrespectful schmuck. And Brock walked up to him, put his hand on Riddle's shoulder and said, stop talking about me online because you and I will never work together. And let's be honest, Riddle's white shorts turned yellow. It's going to be funny if those two ever do fight backstage because Riddle will die. Riddle will die. Goddamn, that's funny as shit. He's such a little shitbag. I can't stand him.
Yeah, there's an air of arrogance about him. I don't know, just because of how he was brought up, who people he was around or whatever. Or he just has that level of arrogance about his skill level. And I know he's like Lashley. I don't know who's been gunning for Brock more, Lashley or Riddle, because I know Riddle's been constantly talking about he wants to retire the guy at WrestleMania. Um, so I mean, I guess he got part of his wish. He got to tangle with him a little bit.
Yeah. Well, he got entangled with him for a little bit. So yeah, that's all I got for this week's show, Marcus.
Same, man.
Then we will be back on Thursday. We will probably talk some My Hero, maybe. Catch up on My Hero, talk about that. Talk about
Yeah.
the Arrow series finale. Which means I
Yep.
have to watch that, so, that's already pissing me off. And anything else that pops up. It might not be a long show. And then next week, I should say, next Thursday, we're reviewing the next arc of The Boys. So at least we have 2 shows in the can lined up already for ComicCorp. That's this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard over at twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp. So tune in for that. We're on realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Nerdcorp on Twitter at NERDCRP. On Instagram at realnerdcorp. Twitch.tv/WrestlingUnderground. Twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp. YouTube.com/WrestlingUnderground. We're also on the Comic and GameCorp for YouTube, but there's no URL, so you got to search it. We are on Instagram. No, we already talked about Instagram. Marcus, your personal stuff. He can be found at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's me.
You can also find him on his occasional podcast, the True Penny Podcast, at True Penny Show, TruePennyshow, on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCRP, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. You can download all of our past shows at realnerdcorp.podbean.com or by downloading the Podbean app and searching Real Nerdcorp on the app today. So with all that being said, go to realnerdcorp.com, your one-stop shop for all things us, and be sure to tune in and follow along with all of our dumb podcasts because we have a lot of fun doing them, and we hope you have a lot of fun listening to them. For Marcus Green, I'm Chad Portal. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us a chance. Thanks for checking us out. Thank you. Good night, and remember to watch more wrestling. Marcus, take us home.
Good night.